In this video, I'll be going over 5 FX ideas for your music videos. These are all new era type of FX that your clients will actually love and hit you up with $1,000 in bonus. Okay, that's low-key too much, but the last two part of the series, y'all guys really loved it, and it's been like an entire year since I did the last one. Please don't ask me why, bro. But hey, as Drake says, better late than never, right? So this is FX ideas for your edits part 3. So to start off, our first effect will be this like opacity fade transition, you can call. It is getting popular every day, like everybody uses it, and it is really simple to do. So let me show you how to do this. So to start off, I have these 2 clips right here. So firstly, what I'm gonna do is duplicate my first clip and make sure you're in this end frame right here. Then right click, go to time and just hit freeze frame right there. What it will do is make a freeze frame of that layer, so it turns into like a still frame. Then simply just extend it towards your so it fits your whole comp, and just trim the beginning so it just like goes at the last and just like goes into freeze frame right there. So after that's done, we go and select this freeze frame, hit T to bring up the opacity, hit the stoppers in the opacity, go a few frames forward around like here maybe, and lower down the opacity to 0 so it like fades out right there really simply. And then you can easily use those keyframes, go into this graph, and make sure you're in value graph and just make a graph like this, so it like fades in like really fast, but at the end it is like pretty slow, and I guess that looks really smooth. So the basic foundation of our like transition is pretty much done. So we're gonna like add some effect to spice it up, of course. So firstly, I like to add like a mini max, hit down string and just bring up the amount a little bit to around like 5, go a little further around like here, and just lower it down to 0 so it like slowly goes into like this blur to this like look right there. Now with it, I like to combine something like a camera lens blur and put this before minimax. What this will do is like combining minimax and the camera lens blur allows to create that bokeh, like a camera bokeh type of effect, so it looks like really realistic, you know what I'm saying. So I'll bring up the amount a little bit more to around like 8 and hit the stoppers in blur radius, go a little further and lower it down to 0 so it like slowly goes into right there. Maybe that's too much, maybe somewhere like there. Yes, sure. Then now with it, we can add a exposure to add a flash at the start. So add the exposure and make a flash. You can top it off more by adding a scale keyframe on your background layer. So I'm gonna zoom out my background layer like that. Easy those keyframes, go into graph, make a graph like this, and just hit the stoppers in the motion blur. And what it will do is add a zoom in our background that will help to like distract it from the actual transition, and it looks a little more smoother. I feel like that's a lot. Maybe I'm gonna lower down the zoom amount a little bit and play with the graph right here. Yeah, something like that, as you can see. Now you can leave it right here. We are pretty much done, but to top it all off, I like to add adjustment layer, and from my Essential FX bundle, I like to use the V2 Essential FX V2 to add a horizontal wiggle right here and just like line it up so it adds a little impact right there. So our transition looks a little better and smooth, I feel like. So yeah, Essential FX is literally goated in adding these type of like quick effects that enhance your effects that you already made. So if you want to check it out, I'll link the bundle down below. It comes with the V1 and the V2, and it is totally stacked with the value, so you get around like 80 plus high quality presets in there. But if you don't have my pack, just use a save right there and it will do the job. But anyways, with that, our first effect looks something like this. So now we can move into our second effect. So now moving on, our second effect will be this like AI transition, you can call. If you don't already know, this been really popular lately, so let me show you how to do this. So in my timeline, I have these 2 clips, of course, which I'm gonna add the transition in the middle right here. Now firstly, what we're gonna do is go into the last frame of our first clip and hit Ctrl Alt S in your keyboard to export it as a frame. Make sure you set it to JPEG sequence, and also make sure the size is at the full resolution, and just export it wherever you want. Maybe I'm gonna make a folder called frames in here, and I'm gonna name this one and hit render right there. And right after that's done, go ahead to your composition again, go over to the first frame of your second clip, so the first frame right here, and hit Ctrl Alt S again, set it to JPEG again, and just like name this to 2 and just render it real quick. And now after that's done, open up your browser real quick, so right here, and in your browser just go to the site called Kling AI. Yeah, I guess it's called Kling AI, right? Yep. And just go to klingai.com. By the way, I'm not sponsored by it. It is just like I'm sharing the source with y'all. It is not like any type of sponsorship or some shit like that. By the way, in here just hit create to like get into this like workspace. Make sure you are logged in and you'll get a bunch of credit to like start off. Now in here we're gonna head over to the Wasage video, and right here in videos you gotta make sure you are in Kling 1.6 model right here. Other model won't work, so make sure you're in 1.6. And now just find your explorer where you save the frame at, and at the start where it says start, just put the one frame right here, let it load right here. So it should be in the start frame right here. Go over to the end now, and in the end just drag the two one. So the starting frame is this and the ending frame is this right here, and then just hit generate. We ain't gotta like play with the prompt sensor, it will automatically create a smooth like transition for us. Now you can see it is like loading, but it is saying it got 1 hour left. It depends, like it can do faster than this if you got the premium, but if you don't got premium it can take some time, but it clearly depends on the server, like how full is the server or not. But after that's done, you'll get results something like this. As you can see, like I made this before, so if I show you, this is like really smooth of a transition right there, as you can see. So I'm just gonna download this to showcase y'all, cause I'm not waiting 1 hour for that. For real, bro. And right here, save it where you want. Right here, just save it and open this up. Now open up your After Effects, just import it into After Effects right here, and go back into your composition, make a gap between both of your clip and just drag it in the middle right here. And of course it's too long. To fix that, go over to time stretch and make it something like 25 maybe. Yep, 25 is perfect actually. And now you can see we got the transition right there. Maybe I'm gonna cut the beginning so it like completely goes from here to here, right there, like that. Now you can of course like pre-comp this, and to remove this watermark right here, I got a really dope way. So just like marks out this watermark firstly, just like marks it out roughly like this using the pen tool, and bring all the marks inverted, and just go over to where it says content aware filled in the right side, and just like hit generate fill with these settings and let it load for a second, and it will like cover it up. And now you can see it is done instantly. And if I trim it over here and show y'all, you can see the watermark is gone. That's exactly what we want. Now you can pre-comp both of these, and to make it more realistic, we're gonna add RSMB to add some motion blur, because it is like moving really fast, so motion blur would look really realistic right there. And with these you can add like flashes and stuff to like make it more realistic. For that I like to use my Essential FX again to top it off. So I'm gonna open up V1 and V2. If you want to grab this, as I said, I'll link it in the description. I'll link the bundle so you can get the V1 and the V2 like in a really good price. But anyways, from the V2 I'm gonna use the flicker in right here, so it like flickers in before like going into actual like the AI effect. Yeah, something right there. You can see it looks way more smoother than like a still frame, and looks way more realistic. And to end it off, I'll add another adjustment layer right here and use something like a Aussie iconic shake right here to like add a shake, like a hard shake in there. So something right there, as you can see. So it like ends with the hit. So yeah, with that I guess our second effect is also done, and it looks something like this. So now moving into our third effect, which would be this like wiggle type of effect you can call. It is really fire right now. Every like underground music video uses this effect. It is pretty simple to do, so let me show you how to do this. So in my timeline I have these two clips again. I'm gonna go over to our second clip and make an adjustment layer right here, trim it over our second clip. And to start off, we'll be starting it off with a a sapphire void bubble. So add a void bubble right here, make this frequency around like 7 or 8, something right there, and hit the stopwatch in the frequency. As it goes, just lower it down to around like here, so it like explodes basically, and then just like hit the stopwatch in the amplitude, make it to like 0.300 or something, and go over to the end again and just lower it down to 0. So we'll get this type of effect right here. Now you can select the frequency keyframe, easy ease those, go into the graph real quick, and in value graph just make a graph like this, so it like explodes like really fast, maybe something like this. Yes sir, that looks hard. Then we can even like easy this and just like make it a little more smoother, something right there. Now after the basic keyframes are done, just go over to where it says seed and alt click it, and in here just add a expression called time 50 asterisk 50, and if you already play that through, you can see we have this crazy wiggle effect. Like this looks insanely crazy. Maybe I'm gonna set it to 5, not gonna lie, because it is like way too fast for me. Yeah, maybe something right there. So yeah, that would be our like the base wiggle, you can say. Then now to add on this, we can add a sapphire distort chroma and bring up the blurred lens and bring up the amount, and also bring up the samples so it looks smoother, and hit the stopwatch in the amount, go a little further and set it to 0. You can play with the graph of this as well, easy ease. In graph just make a smooth graph like this. Yes sir, something like that. And then with it you can add like something like an exposure and hit the stopwatch in the exposure, flash it at the beginning. And to add more impact in there, I like to add something like a object compensation and reverse the length of it and bring up the amount at the first, so around like 100 or something right there, and hit the stopwatch in the FOV and go a little further and set it to 0. So we'll get something like this, so it like works. And you can even just like make it easy ease and make it a little smoother in here. Yeah, something like this. And lastly with it, I like to add something like a flicker. Bring up the flicker at the first and hit the stopwatch in amplitude, go a little further and lower it down to 0. And now with that, you can see it looks super dope. You can of course add on more effects into this, but I like to leave it here for you, like go crazy. And as I said, if you have my essential effects, you can just add these type of wheels in like seconds. So in V1 we'll get better results than that, as you can see, really hard. And I got a lot in V2 as well, because this one is my favorite one. It looks real smooth, even some hard ones, something right there. So yeah, if you want to check this out, I'll link it in the description. Warp distorts is one of my favorites right now, so you'll get like warp distorts like this. But yeah, with that, our third effect is also done and it looks something like this. So let's just move into our fourth effect. Now moving into our fourth effect, which will be this easy chroma transition. It looks super clean and it is really easy to do, so let me show you how to do this. So in my timeline, to start off, as usual, I got this 2 clip. In here I'm gonna simply make an adjustment layer and add something like a sapphire distort chroma in here. And you might have already noticed like I love playing around with like sapphire distort chroma. But anyways, in here just bring up the chroma amount to around like 1200 or something right there, and bring up the amount, bring down the amount I mean. And as it goes, go into the last frame of your first clip and bring up the amount 2.200, something right there. And you can play with the warp direction because I want it to go like up right there. And going 1 frame in where the scene changes, we're gonna make this amount completely opposite, so it will go into the minus value. For me it will be around like minus like 900 because our scene is really bright. The values can depend according to your scene, so don't copy my exact values, just get the idea and do your own thing, you know what I'm saying. But anyways, after this, go into the last frame and set it back to 0. Now we're gonna ease this keyframe right here, go into the graph, and in all of these just make a graph like this, and in this end one just make one like this. And now if you already play that through, you can see that looks smooth as hell. Maybe something right there and maybe something like this. You can see we already getting that super smooth look I really love. Now of course bring up the samples to around like 30 so it looks really smooth. Then in here we can add something like a sapphire stretch frames right here to like stretch frames, and just set the value to 1 at the beginning, and as it goes just bring it up so it like stretches as well a little bit as it goes, and lower down the value to 1, something right there, and just easy these keyframes, go into the graph, make a similar graph in here, so something like this, maybe little like this in the graph, and we are almost done. Again we're just gonna add an exposure in here to add a flash right where it transitions, something right there, maybe a little faster, and top it all off, add a flicker, and even if you like you can put the flicker before the distort chroma so it like actually reacts with it. And with that flicker I guess we're done, and if you play that through you can see our third effect looks something like this. Now moving on to our fifth and last effect, it will be this really dope matrix type of effect, looks super cool, and we'll be using a secret free plugin to do this, so stick around to know what it is. So to start it off in After Effects, you can see I have this really dope clip from Playboi Carti and the Weeknd music video. So I'm going to duplicate this clip right here and quickly rotoscope out my subject, which is Playboi Carti. So I'm gonna just roto Carti out firstly, then we'll roto Weeknd as well. So let me just do it real quick. I'm skipping this part because it is really easy. So yeah, I'm gonna just meet y'all after I roto Carti and Weeknd out. Now after you roto out your subjects, you can see if I turn up my background layer, you can see I rotoscoped out Carti and Weeknd out. So in our bottom layer, we got the background layer, which is the simple one, and we got the Weeknd layer, and at the first we got the Carti layer rotoscoped out. So this is exactly what we want right here. Now after you done your rotoscoping, now what we gonna do is pre-comp this rotoscope real quick. So pre-comp this rotoscope, both of these actually. So pre-comp both of these rotoscope real quick, and I'm gonna select the Carti one first, and in here we're gonna add the effect called Omino Diffusion. If you don't know, this is not a default effect, this is actually a plugin, but it is completely free. Just search up Omino download for After Effects or some shit like that. Like it is literally 100% free, or I'm gonna just leave it in the description for y'all to check out. But I added the Omino Diffusion first, and instantly after you add Omino Diffusion, you can see it creates these like crazy type of glitchy type of effect already in here, which looks super cool. So you can just play around with this value to like create like some insane effect, insane glitches, as you can see. Like it is actually really goated. Yeah, you can literally use your like creativity to go crazy with this effect. But for me, what I'm gonna do is toggle switch and modes firstly, and just go over to the blending modes and set the blending mode to linear dots firstly, so all the black gets removed and only the white like glitches are visible. Now you can just play with the values. All of these values like creates different type of glitches. So yeah, you can just play around with all these values, even like width and sit, like you can play with all of these to get the perfect value right here. And I'm gonna go around the middle right here and trim it right here because I want the Carti glitch, and right there I'm gonna begin the Weeknd glitch. So I'm gonna just like trim the Weeknd layer at this point exactly as well. It has those like glitches, but it doesn't have that matrix fill. So for that, what we'll be doing is adding an optical glow. You can add any glow that you like, but I think optical glow is the best one. So I'm bring up the size of the optical glow and go over to where it says colorize and just like make it something like a green color. And now if you like lower down the amount and shit, you can see we get this really insane of a matrix type of effect going on. Looks super dope. One thing you can even do is animate the error aside as it goes, so it just like varies as it goes. So you can just like, oh my god, that looks insane. So yeah, something like this as it goes, so it like glitches more and shit. Damn, that actually looks super dope. Now we're gonna copy this exact effect into our Weeknd layer as well, so we get the effect right there as well. And then we're gonna set it to unmold and just toggle fusion modes and set it to linear dots right there. Set it to linear dots to remove all those like black points. And now if you already play that through, you can see we have this really crazy glitchy type of effect going on. You can even mess around with values more if you like that. And what I like to do is add to adjustment layer on top and add a little bit of glitch where it like transition between these two clips. So I'm gonna make a one framer adjustment layer right here and copy all of these like omino diffusion effects once again into this top adjustment layer. So it is like goes like that, like it like glitches like that, as you can see. And of course you can go into these values and play with the overall value of everything, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, you can just make it something like this as well. It looks super dope. And I'm gonna go 2 frames forward and copy this adjustment layer and put it right here and just adjust the values again, fix differently right now. Maybe something like this. Maybe you can even play with the values. And now if you play that through, you can see those 2 adjustment layer looks really cool. You can even set the blending mode to linear dots if you want your footage to like while it's like glitching and stuff like that. Yeah, I think that looks a bit more smoother. And in this, between these 2 frames, you can add any effect like that you like. Maybe I want to use something like my essential effects too. Maybe anything like that suits with this video. Maybe just like frame 1 or some shit like that, and just like adjust the values. Yeah, something like this. Just another 1 framer, so it like transition into another clip. So yeah, essential effects is really versatile. As you can see, I can add like, I can use it on whatever way you want. You can see single-handedly we added this really dope 1 framer really easily, like drag and drop. Now you can leave it right here, but one thing I like to do is add a hue and saturation into my background and lower down the saturation. I guess this saturation effect looks really cool with it, and you can even bring up the glow more if you like. And one more thing you can do is add like a tritone and just make it like a green type of tone according to your like scene, and just like animate it as it goes. So right here I'm set it 100, and in blend with the original the first value will be 100, and as it goes it will be 0. So it like get colorized as it goes, and at the end we just gonna remove this so the weekend layer doesn't like affected by that. Maybe I'm gonna just add the hue and saturation on the weekend layer as well, weekend background layer I mean. Yeah, now if you play that through, that looks super dope. Maybe I'm gonna copy these 3 framers that we made into our first frames right here. Yeah, I think those glitches at the start also looks really dope. Damn, we created something really cool right now. And now to top it all off, if you have my like something like a grunge bundle, this is another pack by me which adds a lot of like grungy type of effect. You can play around with these presets, like it goes really crazy with these effects. As you can see, like basically a lot of like crazy like grungy type of effect in here. As you can see, this looks absolutely insane right here. So yeah, you can mess around with this pack as well if you like. As you can see, bro, that looks insane. If I put this into like green, as you can see, the grunge effects really makes it look like really insane, bro. So yeah, if you want to check this out, you can check my site out. Like this camcorder also looks really dope with it. I feel like I might just go with this camcorder, not gonna lie. Like gives that like vintage type of look in here that I want. But yeah, I recommend grabbing all of my pack using the all-in-one bundle because it comes with a great offer. I'll link it down below. You can check it out if you want. But let me just find something good to like that fits with the transition. I guess, yeah, bro, the chroma flicker looks really hard with this one. Yes, sir. Even like synth, bro, synth will go crazy. All this synth. Yeah, I'ma just go with the chroma flicker for now, because this looks really insane with the chroma flickers and all those like insane flickers. And now if you play this through, you can see our 5th and final effect looks something like this. So yeah, that's it for today's episode, guys. Hope you guys learned a lot of new effects. I won't take a year to make another episode. I'm planning to do it this or another week again. Like I'll be consistent with these episodes because these are like filled with sauce and I know y'all really enjoy it. So yeah, it won't be like a year gap now. Like you'll get another episode in next 2 weeks or 3 weeks for sure. So yeah, we can call this a wrap of episode 3 of FX Ideas. So if you like this, please hit the like button. It pushes the video to the new audience, which would really help me to grow my channel, and subscribe to get locked in with really cool sauce for your music videos. And I'll see you on the next one. Peace.